I'm not going to call you a mumtrepreneur.
Oh God, please don't.
Mumtrepreneur.
Mumtrepreneur. No, don't use that.
Mumfluencer?
No.
Okay, we won't do that either.
Welcome to Real People, Real Living by LivingAscot. In this podcast, we dive deep into real stories of real people who have moved into Dubai and are calling it their home.
There you're sat with the amazing Taro's kid. She has 4 amazing, beautiful salons across Dubai, a fantastic academy. You're also, I think, a big part of the Schwarzkopf team.
Yes.
Try spelling Schwarzkopf.
Schwarzkopf. I can barely say it.
No.
So
Yeah, how do you say it?
I can't. Schwarzkopf. Schwarzkopf.
Yeah.
And owner of Fratelli Barbershop as well. So Tara is with us today because she is a real life entrepreneur. She moved to Dubai and she has had 9 beautiful years.
Yeah.
9?
15.
15.
Oh.
Okay. 15.
We'll have to edit that.
Yeah.
And you've been here for 15 years, so
Yes.
you can give us some insights and let our listeners know about some key facts and pointers about moving to Dubai.
I'm super excited.
Yeah. Awesome. Right. Well, aside from that, this is our first podcast.
Congratulations. I love what you've done with the play.
Yeah.
Turned
Even
it
though you
upside
kept me
down.
waiting.
Yes, we do apologise. So we have some cue cards because we're
Okay.
not as seasoned as you are in the podcast world.
I just talk, so.
Let's go over the top questions asked about moving to Dubai.
Yes. Do you know what? This is really good that we're talking about this because I bring over so many staff as well. And these are so many things are the questions that always get asked, you know. And I think it's really a duty to employers to be able to provide the right information. So, yeah, like top 10 questions, you know, when you're looking for somewhere to live, you know, you've got to think about your visa. Then we know once you get your visa, you don't always get your Emirates ID, you know, because your visa is a 3-part process. You've got your visa, then you've got to get your insurance, and then finally your Emirates ID comes out. So I think, you know, as an employer, this is something that we're definitely doing at the minute, you know. What to expect when you move in here, how much money you need to get set up is one of them. You know, how long your visa takes, what area to live in, I think is always a big, you know, you think that you're going to want to live somewhere and then you're like, no, I don't want to live there. You know, where you're working is obviously a huge part because then we know what the traffic is like here. Do you really want to be in the car for an hour? You know, and again, so for me, I'm in Abu Dhabi as well. So you've got the other side of things. I swear people think that Abu Dhabi is Saudi Arabia compared to Dubai. You know, so you get all these girls that, you know, is it really strict? You know, so that's another thing, the difference between the two. But I suppose, yeah, it's people, and do you know what? One of the things that I'm answering a lot at the minute is, it's not easy. You know, people are coming out at the minute thinking that, you know, they're going to walk into a career, it's going to be easy. Yeah. And then they don't realise, like, Dubai is harder than ever. There are so many opportunities here, but you have got to hustle. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You have got to be anywhere here and do well and not live like you're on a permanent holiday. You've got to be achieving, like, top 5%, you know? You've got to be doing extra things, you know? And I think, especially moving from like the UK and places like that, you know, just doing is enough. But if you really want to achieve here in Dubai and you want to sort of cut through the, you know, and get somewhere and not struggle, I think that's probably my biggest thing is it's not easy, you know, and I believe in massive transparency.
100% agree.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to shoot to one of the first questions. So these we've taken from the internet and they're the most asked questions. So we've got, we are planning on relocating to Dubai in the beginning of next year, but they would like to find a home and sign a lease agreement beforehand. Oof. Can we do that by living in another country?
No, you can't, because you need to have your visa. And I think this is what we just spoke about there, is if you are bringing a family over here, I think one of you needs to come first. You need to get set up. You need to get your visa. You need to get in. You need to You need to live in a hotel first.
Yeah.
For at least 3 months.
For at least 3 months
Yeah.
to be able to understand where you want to live. You know, I think it takes, relocation is huge. I think bringing a family over all in one go is stressful because it is a totally different way of doing things.
100%.
Yeah, your family's visas, your visa, then trying to find schools, then trying to find, I think one of you needs to come first, get set up, and then, be prepared for that.
Yeah, 100% agree. So, Tara, you've obviously been on this journey. I think you arrived in Dubai 2015? I might have made that up.
No, 2009.
Oh, well, I definitely made that up.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I've been in business for 9 years, so that would be, I think, not that I'm very good at maths, 2009.
Wow, okay, so you have actually seen the rise and the fall and, everything in between, I guess.
Yeah, I moved to Dubai in 2009. I had £200 in my pocket. I was having a very, very rough time in the UK. I pretty much ran away and came out here. My sister was here. I was living on her sofa. And this is what I said about the hustle thing. Like, I came out with a very different mindset. I came out typical mindset of life owes me something.
Yeah.
Enough is enough. Do you know what I mean? Just doing enough is enough. Which, ultimately led to me having not very much, but very many different experiences as to what I was having in the UK.
Yeah.
So I bounced from job to job. My lifestyle took over. I think that happens to a lot of people when they first arrive.
Yeah.
It was about the weekends. It was about the brunches. But, that for me got in the way, definitely. And ultimately led to me losing jobs. But then I met my husband. Again, he's from Scotland, very similar background to me, but we moved to Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
And he was working in oil at the time. And then I think, then it was sort of, right, I really feel lost now. Like, Abu Dhabi was so different back then to what it is now. And I was like, I need to change something up, and then I decided to open my salon.
So what made you move to Abu Dhabi, Tara?
He was in oil and his job was there.
Okay.
And he was commuting all the time, so I was like, okay, let's move. I was fuming. I was like, what have you done? But, it's the best thing that happened to me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Would you say it was a really big sort of change in lifestyle?
It was huge.
Yeah.
It was huge back then. I mean, that ultimately led to us getting married because I was like, we're going to get caught. Like, we're going to get arrested. So, not romantic.
Well, at least you got a ring on the finger then, at least.
That's it. One way to ride. So, it was so different back then. But Abu Dhabi, even more so different. It's very different now. And people say to me now, would you move back to Dubai? And I'm like, no, I love Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
I love both. They're so close. I come up here every day. It takes me 50 minutes, from Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
And then it's just nice and quiet on the weekends as well. I need that space.
And I guess you get your you time in that commute.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's hard also because for me, it's busy. So you do get your you time. I try and, listen to podcasts or books, or sometimes I just want a bit of Whitney on. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Belting it out, level 50.
So, it is great, but it's up and down the road, you can, it's a dangerous road as well. So we can't be, you can get easily distracted. You know what it's like here, your phone is going all the time when you've got your own business. So it's great, a few black points. So I need to really work on that. But yeah, it is nice. You get that hour. And oh my God, I've spent like 40 minutes today just in traffic getting from Motor City to Al Quoz. So, it's...
So you don't feel the 50 minutes on the straight road.
No. My driving is not the best, to be fair now. Which is...
You would have thought after all of those years of commuting it would have got a bit better.
No, you just get so impatient. I lose concentration. I want to be there. Probably not. Don't get in the car with me, Brittany. I think I'm saying.
Okay, note to self.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
So, Tara, how do you switch off? You obviously own 4 very successful salons in the UAE. Yeah. How do you switch off? What do you do? How do you spend your weekends? Do you spend them in Abu Dhabi? Do you sometimes come to Dubai?
Yeah. I think when you've got your own business, you never switch off. Yeah. I think I've worked out now. It depends what's going on in my business. So currently at the minute, I am doing a full deep dive into everything to do with it. I'm redeveloping everything, so that means no downtime, you know, but that is only sustainable for so long. You know, I've got 90-day goals, so in order to achieve those 90-day goals, that means I'm going to have to make sacrifices. But I think then I know at the end of that, towards like mid-December, I'm going to take time off, you know. I'm going to have that goal in place. I'm going to be, right, this is the salon closes down. If I get to this. So I think for me, that's how I work best, rather than trying to be balanced. And I think there's no such thing. Is just be realistic. Right, I've got a big project coming on. I need to do that. So I'm going to have to do this. Okay, right, I'm going to allow 2 weeks here to do this. And I think, once you open your own business, there is no day off.
Yeah. Do you know what I think is amazing about you, Tara, is we've been sat downstairs, obviously, I do apologise. We've been sat downstairs, and in the time that we've been sat downstairs, I've heard that you've had an event going on in your academy, and you've got almost 200 people coming here this evening for another event, which I just find absolutely incredible, because I feel like your life goes far beyond hairdressing and behind the salon doors. You know, your life is very much a community within what you've built.
Yeah, for me, you know, I struggled a lot growing up, feeling connected to people and finding the right advice. I didn't have anybody to lead me, which ultimately led into some, you know, not great moments in my life. So for me, bringing people together, creating communities, networking, that's how we build people. We build each other. Like, you support, that's how we build business. You know, the more people you can, you know, help out and you can do a good collaboration, the more your name gets out there as well. So for me, again, you know, we're doing this thing, you know, transformation consultations. I spoke to you about it the other day. I understand whatever part of your life, it's about asking the right questions to be able to give the right advice, you know. And for us, it's not just about how you look, it's about how you feel. So this whole, you know, how we do a consultation, we're going to ask you these questions to be able to recommend you the right things, you know. And transformation consultations is understanding that busy women also don't have very much time, you know. We always come last down the line. So if you can come into a place and we can ask you the right questions to give you the right advice to not only make you look better but to feel better, you know, that's gonna make a difference. And then when we say about that, not just the, you know, we've got the holistic approach, but we've got the courses, we've got the networking, you know. It's about, I understood how I felt when I didn't feel like that, you know, and I know how much value you can and the difference you can make to somebody when those things are there.
Would you say that when you moved to Dubai, did you struggle getting into some form of like community because of the expat lifestyle back in 2009 was not really there?
Well, I mean, it was alcohol, you know, it was the brunches. You find you know, you think I mean, I was very lucky. I had a good couple of friends that are still my friends today, but you know, it's a very lonely life as well. You know, one good thing with hairdressing is you always find people like you. You know? It's not your regular corporate
You're always
job.
popular.
You're just you're all cut from the same cloth, if that makes sense. You know, we were never meant to sit behind desks. We were never meant to, you know, we need to be kept entertained. So you'll always find a good tribe, you know, when you are a hairdresser. But it's hard because, and I see it now when people come out, like, you know, people just want to fit in. They don't, you know, and again, Dubai is a great place. There's so many opportunities, but you have to put yourself out of your comfort zone. You know, you will go one way or the other here. You will feel very, very lonely, or you go down the party route, or if you can tap into that network here, you can get to anybody here, like within 30 minutes. You know, it's not like being in London, is it? Like, everybody knows everybody here. So I think it's, you know, understanding that you have to be, and this is what we teach downstairs, that what you put in, you will get back out.
100%. I actually think that takes us back to one of the questions that somebody asked. Was someone asked, as a mum of 3, I have a toddler. I won't be working for at least another year, and I'm moving to Dubai. Where can I make friends and meet new people? And I guess that sort of comes back to what we discussed. You've kind of got to put yourself out there.
You've got to. You have to put yourself out there, and you know you're going to meet a lot of people that you don't like as well. Let's be realistic. You know, let's not try to blend to be accepted. Agreed. And I've spent a lot of my life people pleasing, you know, wanting to blend to fit in. You know, you can put yourself into these groups and you can feel uncomfortable because some people, you know, so be honest with yourself. If they're not your people, that's fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean they're nasty people, but they're not for you. You know, it's really important that you build a network around you that supports you for being you and supports you.
Yeah.
You know, and that, you know, you can be lucky, it can happen straight away, but don't be disheartened if it doesn't happen straight away. You know, there's so many different ways of doing it.
And I think there's also the stigma around Dubai about you know people feel like they need to behave and dress and you know visit the most expensive restaurants just to fit in with a network. But
you can live so many different ways here.
Yeah.
You know, you can, you know, the things, the programs that you see, the Daily Mail and everything. Yes, there's that side of it, absolutely. But there's something very sort of special about here as well, that there are a lot of people that are chasing the same dreams as you and want to support you, you know, and I think that's very hard to find anywhere in the world. So, you know, it depends. I think with anything, you've got to be true to yourself. What do you really want for you? And then you find that, then you build that network around you.
Yeah.
Especially Dubai here, because it's such a huge golfing community, and I live in a golf course, and expats, they flock around it. So I think there's so many.
Are you good at golf?
No.
No, I'm not.
Not yet. I'm starting my beginner's classes soon.
I haven't got the patience.
Yeah,
it was something I really wanted to do. I was like, no, it's not this.
Great if you want to get a t-shirt tan. That's what I'm going to say.
I try to. But I think that sports activities also are very big in Dubai. So I think that's a great place where to meet people.
Yeah, paddle. What a massive... Like, I've not tried it.
Yes.
And it's come out of nowhere.
It's what a rage, you know?
Yeah.
It's fashionable. Paddle. Like, I've not tried it. But there is something here for everybody.
Yeah.
We are spoiled.
So spoiled.
Yeah, spoiled for choice, you know. And when the weather cools down, you can do so many things for free as well, you know. We've got so many beautiful places around, you know, the beaches, you can go to Ras Al Khaimah, you know, you can go camping, you can do all sorts of things. There honestly is something here for everybody. And yeah, you know, it depends how you live your lifestyle.
Yeah.
You can go out and you can spend ridiculous amounts of money on brunches every week. It's great, it's there. But I suppose, you know, you have to understand, if you want to live like it's a holiday,
there's no longevity in it.
then it's
eventually you do fall down and you're like, right, I need to do something.
Yeah, you're meant, like, you know, it's not still. Then you put on the weight, you know, the Dubai stone.
Dubai 10 stone.
Yeah,
if you're me.
exactly.
I put on 2. I look like I'd literally been pumped up by a foot pump.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody knows that feeling.
But yeah, it's just, you know, it's I mean, I love it. Moving to the UAE changed my life forever.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same.
But
for
it
me.
has not been easy, and it's still not easy.
Yeah.
But it's just the way you have to look at it, you know.
And when you obviously employ very skilled professionals from, I guess, all over the world. But
All
if you're bringing them here, what would you, if you were advising them on moving, what would be your, you know, sort of top bits of advice that you would give to a professional that works in the hairdressing industry that wants to move to Dubai? What would you advise them?
Like I said before, it is different, you know. Don't expect to come out and it be there for you on a plate. You know, don't make the same mistakes that I made for like 10, 15 years of my life. You know, I'm going to be very honest. You know, this is how it needs to be. You know, you need to be transparent about where they're going to live. You know, the first 6 to 12 months can be horrendous. You know? Can't it?
Yeah.
You know, it's because it's so different in the way you do things. You've got to think about visas, places to live. Like, you can't enter a Tawthiq, you know, all of those. Like, what are those things? Moving, banks, this. It's like, so for me, I am completely 100% transparent with people. Like, be prepared for this first 6 to 12 months. After a year, you will finally start to feel settled. Even within your job, you know, you've got to remember it takes time to build, you know, clients and you and your brand, you know, and if you're not 100% invested because you're moving and all of this stuff, you can't be 100% invested in work as well. So I think that, you know, that transparency of, you know, it's going to be different. If you're coming out with a family, like we said before, send somebody first. Somebody first. Go into a hotel. Start looking for schools, because again, you need to find. You know, your school will determine where you live, or where you live will determine your school.
Yeah.
Because again, there you don't want to be doing an hour's hike to there. So yeah, all these things you've got to think about. Logistics is where your office is, where the school is, where your area is. Then you've got to think about, you want to live in an apartment or what do you want to live in a villa? You know, what do you want your community to be like? Do you want it gated? Do you not? There's lots of different things to think about there. You know, golf course or sea view. Again, they all come with very, very different price ranges. I think in the beginning, you know, maybe spend 3 months, try not to overspend in the beginning. I think people like go big, go home mentality. Go home ends up being the, you know, start. And I think again for us, we learned, okay, yes, you want to start smaller, but ultimately, if you're renting as well, you need to stay somewhere for like 2 years to be able to make sure you're not overspending as well, because you need new furniture, new curtains, and all of those things. And then obviously you come to buying. I mean, we personally still haven't bought. We kick ourselves. But because we decided our money was going back into business, my husband has his own business. But looking at a few places where we thought about buying and now what they are
Now where they are, it's crazy.
It's crazy. But I think, just try not to be what you think at the beginning. Don't be, be prepared to have your mind open. Keep an open mind. If you've got a very fixed mindset on what you want, this, and this, that's where it tends to go wrong, because it's the same as like choosing a wedding dress, You've got like this idea in your head, and then when you go to try it on the day, it's nothing that you would have ever imagined.
And you end up going for something that's polar opposite.
Completely different. I think, for a family, it's your school, it's the office. You've got to think, is this doable for me? Does this work? Because you know what it's like. You've got to be happy in your day-to-day runnings of everything.
I think a lot of parents get caught up in the school run, and they don't realise the difficulties between actually where they've rented a house and how far the school is. It's only 20 minutes, but if you've got 3 kids and they've got different pick-up drop-off times
and the traffic, so these things are really, really important. For me personally, my non-negotiable is my son goes on the bus, because that for me is my hour. Okay. I am not a patient person, and being on that school run would send me under, definitely. So where I live is very close to the school, so that's how we chose that. There were 2 different schools that we were going to choose from, but I chose this one because it was closer and he could go on the bus, which meant I drop him at 7:10, which means I've got my hour in the gym doing a bit of work, which means I can go to work not feeling stressed out.
So would you say that that's probably one of your top tips? When you're searching for a place to live, you should really take that into account?
Absolutely, definitely. Especially, I have one child. So again, all the extra school activities and everything, and
just keep it close proximity as much as possible where you live.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Because people are right, I really want to live there, but the school is over here. You just, honestly, it's about you and what's easy for you.
So, look, I guess we're extremely lucky with the fact that we have so many different private schools.
Yeah.
How would you advise a parent to go about choosing between all of the different types of curriculums that are available?
So for me, I didn't want British curriculum.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I hated school, so that was why. And for me, I don't necessarily agree with the form of learning. If you're not great at memorising or learning to spell or, adding, then they strike you off. So we went for international curriculum instead, which is more project-based, analysis and all of those things, like they learn through different forms. So that was one for me. Like I knew very much so, but then it could be the other way around. And again, I absolutely not going back to the UK. So it was, I knew then as well that it was fine. I didn't need to slot him back into the British education.
Okay.
So that's, one of the, so many amazing schools. But I think, again, you've got to think about, I don't know, like we both have our own businesses, so we have to pay our own school fees.
Yeah.
So again, what is your budget as well? There's things that you've got to think about. What are people's budget for their school fees? You've got to factor that in. Do you get help with that? Do you not? What are their schools? What are they, So that's a big thing to think about.
I guess your son has always been in school in Abu Dhabi.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And would you say there was any difference between the curriculums that are offered there versus what's in Dubai? Do you think there's more on offer?
It's the same. There's more. It's bigger here. There's more schools.
And then in terms of the cost, is it?
I think it's more expensive now here in Dubai. It always used to be the other way around. I mean, you've got some big ones like Cranley and huge private schools in Abu Dhabi, but I think it is slightly cheaper in Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
And so also the rent as well.
Yeah. So you have obviously mentioned that you live in an apartment.
Yes.
What was your reason behind choosing an apartment?
So when my little boy was smaller, obviously we all know what the floors are like here. Everything is like marble, ceramic, like there's no carpets, the stairs are like death traps.
Yeah, they're cold.
So we lived in a villa, but because there was only 3 of us, we only ever used to, like from the outside it looked like nobody lived there because we'd only use the back our bedrooms were at the back, the living room was at the back. So we didn't use half of it, and I found for me personally, you only ever use the living space, so I felt like all the upstairs was just not used unless you were sleeping in it. So whereas an apartment, you've got a bit more of a living space, an open space. And then obviously the floors when they're younger, you're not having to run up and down the stairs, stair gates and all of that. Everything is on one floor. They can't get into too much trouble.
Love that.
And then I really like having a view.
Yeah.
A view for me. I open my curtains and I've got, glass windows from top to bottom and I look out onto the water.
Nice.
So it's, there's some amazing villas. I love them. But then there's something about when you look out your window for me.
And see the ocean.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So, but I think if we had more kids, we would need more space. I think, more than one child, you'd probably need to think about maybe having a villa. Yeah. A garden, so we can just kick them out the back. On off you go.
Get on the trampoline.
Yeah, burn that energy
Yeah,
off.
please do.
Yeah. So I think that's definitely something to think about. I think younger children, it's much easier in an apartment.
Yeah.
But again, there you've got to think about if you're going to have a nanny. So if
Where do they sleep?
Where do they sleep? So if you've got normally 1 to 2 bedrooms, you won't get a nanny's room.
Yeah.
It's 3 bedrooms and up where you get the nanny space. So then you have to think about a villa. Are you going to have a live-in nanny, or are you going to get somebody that travels? So these are also things to think about. We had live-in initially because my working hours were long, but now we have somebody that lives out.
Okay.
Because my son's a lot older now as well. He goes on the bus. He just needs picking up from school. So, yeah, it's not as necessary.
And I think there's something around when you come to Dubai, there's almost this sort of stigma that says you really need a maid, or you need a nanny, or you need somebody that cleans your house.
Yeah.
But if you look at where we are from back home, we never had maids. Our parents never had maids. They never had nannies. They never had people that came in to clean the house once or twice a week. And I think it's just easier for people to say I have one. When the reality is, do you really need one?
Don't really need one. Of course you don't really need one. But could I live without one now? No, absolutely
Yeah.
not.
Of course.
It's going to be. And I learnt this quite, she's part of my family. But, equally again, because we have the ability to have some help. And I can be, get more time doing the things that I enjoy to do, So I see it as, do you really need one? No, we don't need one. We can do it ourselves. But by having that, do we free up more time for fun time and more time to be able to work and things like that? Absolutely.
Especially when you're running so many businesses, you'd rather have that family time than just...
It's great. You don't need it. You don't need it. But do I love it? Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah. Hands down, wouldn't be doing my own ironing now again.
Oh, I've never. My husband does. Anybody irons, he does the ironing because he was in the army. So.
Oh, okay. So military creases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. Don't let me do it, right?
Tara, you touched base earlier about you were possibly looking at buying, and you're kicking yourself now. There's a lot of people that are obviously in that.
I mean, for years we've thought about it. I mean, even if you look at Ras Al Khaimah, my friend lives there. We thought about buying there as well. And I mean, even there now, look at what's happening. Do we kick ourselves? Yes, but could we have done it all? No. Do you know what I mean as well? We wouldn't have been able, we both have our own companies and we're both all self-invested into it. Yeah. So, yes, would we have made money on it? But again, you know, we made that choice with, you know, putting it into business. But again, you know, you need a lot of money to be able to put down as well,
Yeah.
don't you?
The down payment is huge now.
Yeah, and I think you know, cash just goes back into business for us.
Yeah.
But yes, would we, you know, for now it's about having a home. We want to be here. We want to be able to build our own home. And when you rent all the time, you can't do anything. You're not going to do anything to your house, are you? So, but again, equally, it was like we didn't know, you know, are we going to stay there? Or are we going to live there? You know, you don't know either, do you?
Yeah.
So I think it's on the cards. I think we will. You know,
So the question is, Abu
Where?
Dhabi or Dubai?
Abu Dhabi.
Well, there we go.
Yeah,
Look at that.
Yeah. Everybody says, when are you coming back to Dubai? And I'm like, I'm not. Like, I love I just like the quiet. But I love here as well.
Yeah.
I get the best of both worlds.
Nice.
I can have a wild night out here, and then I can be, bye, see you. I'm off to Abu Dhabi. See you in about 6 weeks.
Would you say that you'd ever branch out into Ras Al Khaimah and then conquer all Emirates?
I think not. My friend has just opened a salon in Raq. I think for me, I don't personally want to open any more salons myself. It's been hard. It's a lot of money. It's stressful. You know, it's scary. But I think I would definitely, you know, franchise. I think that's my next. But looking at, you know, other countries, other places. So for me personally, that's enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dubai and Abu Dhabi, you've conquered 2 out of 7.
Yeah,
so
yeah. No, you can spread. I've learned you can spread yourself too thin, and you can't be everything to everybody.
Yeah.
I know that's been a big lesson this year. So you know, I like what I've got. But yes, absolutely. For me now, I love the business side of things, but I want to be able to support other people with their journeys as well. So franchising is definitely on the cards.
That's amazing. I love that.
For me, that was it. Going home was never an option, so I had to make it work.
It was sink or swim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one or the other every day.
Yeah. I think sometimes in business that's what keeps you going, because you know that.
Yeah.
You know,
Like, what's the alternative? But get your finger out. Yeah.
I see you inspire a lot of the people around you. I obviously know somebody that came to work for you recently.
Yeah.
And, you know, I can see the journey that she has been on since she joined you, and she absolutely says that you are an inspiration to her personal growth. And I think that when you look at, I guess, the people and the businesses that you have made, I think that just because of you and you're very inspiring, you're motivational, and I think you empower a lot of the people around them to be the best version of themselves.
That's nice. But I mean, equally with that, I've found that a lot of pressure this year.
Yeah.
You know, when you expand and you've got all these people looking at you for the right answers or and you don't necessarily know.
Yeah.
It's been overwhelming this year as well with that, because you know everybody's looking at you for the right answers, and you're like, you know, because I've expanded so much this year, it's actually at the minute I have no idea. So you know, I think that's probably one of my lessons for this year is it's okay to struggle as well, you know, and stop trying to be everything for everybody, because you need to go back and realign yourself sometimes for yourself to be able to do more for other people. So I think that's where I was at this year, was, you know, there was a lot of eyes of, you know, seeing she's not quite herself and stuff like that, and that's a lot of pressure. And like, the bigger you get as well, the more people want to see you fail,
and the more people that rely on you as well, which is pressure.
And it's wow, you know, I'm a mum, I'm a wife, you know, I've got these businesses, and you know, equally it's great making your own decisions in business, but again, you know, you make a lot of mistakes as well, so it's all, you know, it's on you as well. But you know, you just have to sort of ride through it and remember that they're there, it's happening for a reason. And I think, you know, I learned some valuable lessons this year, and it's okay to not be everything to everybody, you know. So, you know, and if you do feel like that, it's a time to, you know, have a bit of a clarity break, remove yourself, and just realign yourself again.
I love that. You are actually genuinely such an inspiration.
Oh, that's really nice. Yeah, just about being real. Like, I've had my own journey. You know, it's not easy. I've not struggled, but like, if you can talk, like, just be, and it's almost part of my journey as well. Being honest about, like, it's almost like therapy. You know, just be open.
But I think it's also very inspirational. As you said earlier, you mentioned that you've came out here with £200. How many people have come out here with nothing? And look where you have built yourself up. It's possible if you put the graft in.
You can. And it could have gone one way or the other for me.
Yeah.
I'm telling you now, like I've had some, near moments here, but it could have gone either way. But honestly, the moment, and that is what I say to everybody now, that accountability is one of my biggest core values within my company, because I've lived both ways. The moment I took my life into my own hands, my own responsibility, is where my life changed forever. And that is, and you go one way or the other. I've lived half of my life one way, and I choose to live the other half the other way. And it's that. And I think the thing is, then that's where people, they do listen and they do feel inspired, because they can see that I'm not just saying it, I do it, and then I'll show you, I can help you as well with this. So, that definitely helps. But yeah, it is a great place to live, here. It definitely changed my life forever.
I love that. We spoke about it earlier, but it was you play a key role in hosting events and creating communities for people. Anyone that is making the move to Dubai in the coming months, what would be your biggest piece of advice?
Yeah, so biggest piece of advice is join. There's some great groups out there. I mean, equally, they're great and then they're not great. But you get to, different community groups, like Facebook groups are huge here. You get so much information from them. Different nationality groups, so British groups. You've got different branches groups, community groups. There's Instagram for everything. Every business has an Instagram. Google the place. What's out there. Make a list of all the things that you're interested in. What are the things that interest you? And then I'm telling you, that's the great thing about here, is you can find them.
Yeah.
Whereas you go to Europe or somewhere like that, try and get your nails done somewhere. My God, it's so hard. You can't Google anything or find it. Like, everything here is at the touch of a button, so you'll have no issues with that. But I think just be very clear on how you want to spend your time, and then
who you want to spend it, what kind of people you want in your life.
What life, don't try and fit into what you think you should be doing. Make it authentically your life.